Hello and welcome back to the Global Flow series. I am so excited to have this incredible woman, Fabiola Giordani. I just checked how to say her name and then I messed up, but we're getting right. I knew it was going to happen, right? But
Right.
we met back in New York in October at a mastermind and kept in touch. And I was like, I have to speak to this girl again. So I'm so, because you shared so much wisdom as well at that. And I was like, my people need to know you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So I'm going to read your official bio. And I know you just shared yours, find it a bit cringy, but I want to bask in the gloriousness of you.
Okay.
So Fabiola is CEO of Fabiola Giordani International and a highly sought after online business and marketing strategy. Named by the Huffington Post as one of the 50 women entrepreneurs to follow in 2017. That's why she's here, guys. And Empire Life magazine as one of the top virtual entrepreneurial influencers and mentors. Fabiola is on a mission to help women entrepreneurs grow their business and increase their impact and income online and create ultimate freedom. She works with women globally to get more clients, explode their sales, and reach the six-figure mark and beyond. She's a certified personal business coach, author, and speaker. Yay, thank you so much. I love it. I know it's a bit cringeworthy, but making the HuffPost 50 women to watch list for 2017 is pretty epic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was. I found out at the mastermind actually that I was on the list. I was like, oh my goodness, really?
Check
So it's
me
definitely
out.
exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's the official stuff. Can you share a little
Yeah.
bit more about your story and how you got to be living this amazing life and doing what you do today?
Well, it all started out when I was in corporate America. I've always wanted to be that girl who was a CEO of a company, a Fortune 500 company. And along the way, I started just wanting to take better care of myself. So I started exercising. And then I got a life coach. And then the taste of coaching happened. I was like, ooh, coaching is amazing. But before that, I was dabbling with entrepreneurship because I was a single mom. And so it was like bedazzling shoes and doing all these things just to make
I
extra
love it.
income. Because I was like, why not? While still going to school, just juggling so many things. And along the way, I decided that after working with my life coach that I wanted to go to coaching school. So I got certified and became a life coach. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm having so much fun. And I wanted to learn how do I get clients online without having to leave my house? Because I still liked having a job. I was always a go-getter. And then along the way, I learned online marketing, but I always had a background in marketing in corporate America. But as you know, like marketing for small businesses and entrepreneurs is totally different than what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just decided to quit my job summer of 2014. It was my birthday. Actually, before that, I started waking up every night just crying because when I started taking better care of myself, I started taking better care of my spiritual practice. And by then I was married and I was just waking up in the middle of the night crying. And my husband was like, why don't you just talk to God? Like he's waking up at 3 a.m. every day. There has to be something he wants to tell you. And so I started using that time for quiet and praying. And he was like, listen, you need to quit your job. I got you. And so I was a life coach and I was like, I love life coaching, but I'm not happy. It's not where I'm the most passionate. And it wasn't using the skills that I've learned and I've been practicing my whole life. And so I was like, well, I need to do something that's aligned with me. So I went into branding and business coaching and marketing. I launched my website and I had zero prospects because everybody on my list started following me for life coaching. So they were like, what are you talking about? And then when I launched my business within the first 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I made my first 3 high-end sales. And having that taste of like, oh my gosh, I can make it happen. And this is where I want to be was amazing. But prior to that, I actually quit my job with nothing. And I don't recommend it for people. And let me just give this caveat. When I quit my job, I had already invested a lot in my business prior to using my 9 to 5 as sort of my investor at the time. But I just quit my job. I didn't have any savings or anything. And I just was like, let me scrap my entire business and start over. So it was super scary, but I leaped and we're here today, which I'm so grateful I followed my heart and listened to God.
Oh my gosh, there's so much in there. I'm so glad you did as well, right? Like, I think so many people are probably doing that and they're probably up in the middle of the night and crying and they're not following and having those conversations. So I'm actually reading, one of the books I'm reading at the moment is Conversations with God. So I love that you brought that up. So before I dive deeper into all of this, I'm asking everybody, what does flow mean to you?
Flow to me means being in a state of focus and clarity. It's just being in that space where you're totally confident in what you're doing, so much so that nothing can distract you. So flow in my daily work is just like, okay, what do I need to get done? And like, what are the key results that I want out of it? Because I'm such a free spirit that I can easily get lost in in a tunnel of Facebook stuff and probably binge watching Netflix. I'm human. I'm not going to pretend to be perfect. And so it's being clear and focused and showing up confidently in what you do, and just not letting outside things get in the way, because we can oftentimes get trapped in that, and that makes us lose our clarity and our focus and our confidence. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I love it. I'm taking notes. So when you started, and I love that you quit your job. I did the same thing around the same time, and maybe a few months later, and I really didn't have a clue, to be honest, and it's just ridiculous to me. But being totally how did you initially build your confidence in your business when you were just starting and you didn't know? Have you always had flow in your business, or is that something you're learning to cultivate more now?
I'm learning to cultivate that more now. In the beginning, to build my confidence, still today, spiritual practice is key for me, like staying in connection with God and praying, like even before my sessions, because I went to a Christian life school, like life coaching school, and they taught us like, you need to pray before you start. And I thought, okay, well, why not? And also for me, it's that, and just listening to affirmations. So one of the things that I do is listen to affirmations every day, 15 minutes a day. That has to be a part of my daily routine. So I don't actually start my work day until 10, because besides taking the kids to school and all these other things I got to do, I want to take some time for myself. Sometimes I exercise as well. I try to do that 3 times a week. I'm doing it more consistently now, just being honest.
I saw a post saying you'd lost 20 pounds or something. So I'm
20 pounds.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Well done.
My friend was like, that's a toddler. I was like, yes, I lost a human being. And so the confidence was something that was definitely built. I call YouTube University, because there's so many different, and you also provide meditations and things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So find something to keep you centered. And I know, like, when I was in somebody's shoes, when I was just starting, I was like, that's total BS, but it's the truth, I promise. I was like, oh, she just has so much time on her hands. She doesn't have kids. Come to find out, these people have kids. So just making that a priority, but also surrounding myself with people who are going the same place as me or already there really helped me build my confidence, because I didn't want, and I don't want to say like dump all your friends and start over, but I just wanted to be in a place where people with the same mindset were going, because there's going to be people in your way. They are not trying to bring you down. It's just that's the way their mind works for right now, and they can't see the vision that you have and the promise that God has made to you. And I said God, so to anyone watching, but they can't see that. And so I want to encourage you to build your confidence more. Is to spend less time with those who are not in alignment with where you want to go. And again, not to dump your friends, but just to spend a little bit less and more with those who are going in the trajectory that you're going.
Yeah, I often say when you're starting, it's hard enough just convincing yourself that this is a good idea. Never mind all these other people who are like, are you sure this is a good idea?
Right.
Right. So you're like, go on.
My dad, I just want to share a funny story. My dad used to come for like 6 months. Every Friday, I'm like, Dad, I'm good. Every Friday, for 6 months, he would come and bring me $20. Are you okay? I can't believe you quit your job. I'm like, Dad, I don't need your $20. I'm perfectly fine.
Oh, that's so sweet. My parents are still asking me that. They're like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Right. Please stop worrying about me. That really doesn't help.
Right, it really
right. And I love that you asked for guidance. I wouldn't traditionally say I grew up Christian, but I wouldn't say I hadn't really had much faith. I think my business is helping me, and I'm more of a spiritual side of person, but I do the same thing. I ask for guidance before, you know, especially if I have a whole day of coaching, before I even get out of bed, I have like gone, please help me give these people what they need. Because I don't know if I got it, or, you know, like, please help me say the right things at the right time to help these people. And I don't know if enough people are doing that.
Right. And I mean, I'm a Christian, but I consider myself also a spiritual gangster. I'm like a Catholic who's non-Catholic. I'm so like left field. I just love God, and I just love asking for the help and seeing that result too. So
yeah, I love it. And I love that you've been doing that since day one. That's been part of my learning through this whole thing. I'm like, oh, I can't do all myself. Okay, great. Right. And learning, I've had a massive spiritual awakening the last few years. I'm curious, how did you become a spiritual gangster? Was there
my mother?
Oh, okay, cool.
My mom, and the moment for me was when the doctor said you're pregnant. I was 21 and the doctor said you're pregnant. I was like, ooh, okay. And for me, it was just like, it wasn't more so how am I going to raise a child? I was like, I need help. Like I couldn't do it on my own. I had family, but I was like away from my family, away at college. And I was like, what am I going to do? I definitely knew like she's the best gift ever. I knew I was going to keep my daughter, but I was just like, I need the help. My mom bought me a Bible. My mom's hilarious. So she bought me a Bible and wrote my name inside. And she said, when you're having your tough moments, open it up and talk to God. And she's like, don't worry about reading and memorizing anything. Just open it up. You don't even have to pick anything. Just talk to him. Because she knew like who I was. Just talk to him and he'll handle it. That's the same way I attracted my husband. I manifested my husband through prayer. And not like, like, you know, God, every day I need a man. I need a man. More so like I wrote, same thing with my business. I wrote a love letter to God. I stuck it in my Bible, said a prayer, and I let it go. So, you know, that saying, let go and let God, that's how I became a spiritual gangster. Because I was afraid of having a baby. It's like, something is going to come out of my body. I was freaking out. So just having that experience and just asking him for help and seeing the results really brought my faith up. Like one of my friends said, you know, I thought God didn't really like me at one point. I was like, ooh, is he really? But he does. And so I was like, let me just chill and not put so many assumptions of how everybody, you know, sees the world and focus on my relationship with him and I or her. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. So
Goddess up there, right?
I believe that. It could be a one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, guy. Like, I don't know. Who knows, right? Maybe we should check. Maybe she is. He is like the combination of the divine masculine and feminine, and therefore like has no gender.
Exactly. See, that's why I'm a spiritual gangster. That's why like I'm not like the perfect fit for like I wouldn't be able to go to a place where everyone's just thinking of God one way. I just have that fluid feel. I just know that he loves me and I love him, and we're going to continue to do the work that he wants me to do. So that's the focus.
I love it. And I guess your faith has helped you. Have there been any entrepreneurial moments? So it sounds from your story like you started and you had 3 clients in 24 hours, which is amazing. And then, you know, then you've landed here. Have there been any moments where I've had to learn this faith that you've needed to really rely on that through this entrepreneurial journey? Like, tell us a little bit about how that's been for you.
I'm going to share 2 instances with you. The first one is when I first quit. And I only share this on special interviews like this. My husband he's a truck driver, and he quit his job. And I was like, oh no, I just quit my job. Right. And he quit because he was doing nationwide driving. And he's like, I want to come home. You know, we recently just got married. Like, I'm not going to be everywhere. I want to be here with you guys. And so he quit his job and he thought, I'm going to get a job right away. That didn't happen for about 3 weeks. So that was one of the moments where we were like, okay, you know, God, listen, you told me this was the path and following it. I'm doing everything every day. But one thing that I learned throughout that is just to stay focused on the mission, which is if I had like, oh my gosh, let me freak out. He quit his job. He thought he was going to get something the next week and he didn't, and just freak out. I wouldn't be here because I'm like, oh God, let me go find a job. You know what I mean? Just relax. So just waking up every day and doing the actions that I need to, getting on sales calls, doing my webinars, doing everything that I need to do to get there. And there's been so many other instances where like, you know, I'm doing launches and, you know, launching is just so, it's just, we were talking about that earlier, like just learn to calm down, but it's so frustrated and you're like, oh, I'm launching and people are buying, but then people stop buying, all of that. But another moment that I want to share is a more of a personal side is as an entrepreneur, a lot of women don't talk about this, is that running a business causes stress and that affects your health. And so if you're not taking care of yourself, like I had lost my self-care body for about 1.5 years. Last year was like my first year of just like maybe 7 months into the year of actually taking my time and wanting to breathe and like blocking things out of my calendar. Not because, I don't know if you're okay with me sharing this, but personally, I lost, state of flow, right? I lost 2 babies. And I'm not blaming my business, but it was just like not really taking care of myself and all of that. And that's really important. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it because it's like, I just want to be online and sharing how amazing and fabulous my life is. And it's like, I haven't shared it, you know, I'm sharing this now, but I just feel like that's really important for people to know is like, there will be times where your faith is challenged and and that could have been an easy thing for me to give up on my business. Like, oh Lord, nothing's happening in terms of my personal life of having a baby. And so maybe this is not the right space. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of instances. And it's easy for us to say, oh, it's hard and this is not going to work. And so what I try to do is to journal. I used to journal like Dear Diary, and I was like, this is so boring. But journaling for me has been more like the good stuff, the things that I'm grateful for and what I'm looking forward to the future. And that really helps me stay focused. Long story, right?
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that's a big one. Like that's huge. And I've heard something similar, you know, and it's more behind the scenes of, you know, people, you know, miscarrying. And for me, I haven't miscarried, but I lost myself. I lost, you know, my focus on my health. I gained a ton of weight. I went back into burnout and it just, you know, going straight into all like, yeah. We did mention this just before we got on. So you're obviously I know you, but I was also stalking you. And one of the things you talk about is hustling less and profiting more. And I'm guessing when I started and when we both started, hustle was kind of cool, right? And we were like, I mean, you get caught up in that, and it's partly the hustle, I think, that leads to the health issues and the burnout. Can you speak a bit about that?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I have a program which I no longer offer that used to be called Hustle Fearlessly. And that was because I was in a state of hustle and I was like, this is so awesome. But especially when we're starting out, we don't think about it in the long run. Like, where do you see your business, including your health and your life? Because we're all like, I want to make 10K. I want to get to the next level. I want to make 6 figures. I want to get 7 figures. And so you kind of forget that you're a human being, not a robot. And so one of the things that I've been doing to hustle less and profit more has been to implement systems. And I know you hear that online a lot, right?
We haven't talked about it actually much, to be honest. Right. So this is great.
Right. But a lot of people you hear, oh, there's all these things on your Facebook feed and things. But the truth is they're not lying to you. Like at a certain point, you do want to be able to impact more lives without having to destroy yours. And that's where we forget because we're like, ooh, and I was young when I started. I'm young and hip. I got this. I'm still young. But,
yeah, of course. We're like the same age.
Right. And at some point, you're just like, I just need to breathe. I would like to sit and sip coffee without having to think about a million things that I have to do. And so some of the ways to do that is when you first start out, definitely consider spending money on a team, even if it's one person for 3 hours a week. I know we think, oh, that's a lot, but you can get a VA for like $5. That's $15 a week to set up your social media. You just give them instructions, they do it to save you some time, because that also gives you the taste of what it feels like to be a boss. And it gets you in the practice of creating more space for yourself and more of that freedom that you want. Because when I was hustling, it was like clean up everything. I'm the marketing genius. I'm the branding genius. I do the website. I coach the clients. Like I do everything. And at a certain point, it just becomes too much. And that's one of the things that I realized in my prayers I was like, I got to get rid of this program. God was like, let it go. Everybody's like, even my students were like, why would you do this? This is insane. And they were sad. I got a lot of sad emails. I'm like, don't worry, I will still be here for you. But I'm not saying I'm never going to do it, but I'm not going to offer it. I don't want to promote something that is no longer in alignment with where I want to go. So definitely create some things to create more freedom for you in the beginning. When I started, my business took off to the point where I stopped focusing on, okay, how do we scale this? How do we make it easier for ourselves, until it was like a lot. So definitely consider that.
I love that. And if you were, say, a new entrepreneur, and or somebody even who's been in business a while, and what would be apart from getting a VA, what would be the first step in setting up some systems that would make your life a little bit easier?
Automating your sales process is so key. I think because people see like funnels all over you see talk about 6 figures, funnels and all this stuff. It's not new. Corporate America has been using funnels for years. Because if you think about it, let's say they want to sell you an alarm system. They have a funnel. They send you move in, welcome to the neighborhood. That's your first interaction with the card. And then they start calling you. And then you say, I have talked to my husband. And they start emailing you. All these things are a part of that. And so sometimes we forget the things that work. They work because they work. Now you can infuse your soul into it and make it more you. But setting up funnels to automate some of your sales, you need, I had a client who's been in business for 3 years, didn't even have a calendar. So she would schedule people through back and forth emails. And I'm like, there's so many free calendars out there. You can literally sign up for one and let them schedule themselves. And so setting proper boundaries is super, super key. So with your schedule, if you know that you can only take calls Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's what you do. You don't try to go outside of that. And yes, we want to be accommodating, and there will be times where you do that because maybe you can't cancel it. But if you set those boundaries, people will be okay with it, and that will help you eliminate the hustle because now you're constantly being on the phone. So what I realized early on, which really saved me, was to set proper days for coaching calls and proper days for discovery calls, because I realized that I was on the phone every day on Saturday. I'm like, why am I not? I'm supposed to be enjoying my daughter's dance class. Let me just calm down. And it works. So I only do coaching 3 times a week. And that gives me more time for things that I want to do, whether it's sleeping in, binge watching Netflix, reading a book, having time with family. I still love that Netflix.
I know, me too.
And so just setting those boundaries really help.
I love all that. I was laughing to it. I was like, I haven't had a TV for years. And they were like, oh, me neither. And then I was like, I do have Netflix. And they were like, what? And I was like, I don't have a TV, but I might have Netflix.
Love Netflix.
What's your favorite show?
A lot, actually. What was the most recent binge watch? Was Beauty and the Beast? It was good.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay, I'm writing it down.
Check it out.
I might be, I'll like, you'll get a message at like my 2 a.m. and I'll be like, I hate you.
It is addicting for sure.
Maybe I'll wait until after all of my like series is over,
yes.
and then I'll start it because I have some downtime. But so many things I want to just touch on with this, and it's so important. I used to be really intimidated by the word funnel. I was like, I don't do funnels. Oh my God, that sounds crazy. And then somebody was like, or it could be a series of 5 emails. I was like, oh, I can do emails. I'm like, okay, so let me just write 5 that make sense and put them in an order, right? And I was like, okay. So I'm not a super complicated funnel person, and I think it can evolve, and I think people make it more complicated, and so then don't start at all because they sort of overcomplicate ththings. So I love that you're making everything super simple and doing all that, and boundaries. I had a call with somebody earlier today, and we were just talking about that, and she's burnt out, and I said, when was the last time you had a day, like a weekend off? And she was like, I don't even know. And I was like, whoa. So yeah, how important, like when you've created that space for yourself, how did you initially go from the hustle to allowing yourself that space? Was there like a transition time, or did you just go cold turkey and claim your weekends back?
Two things happened. My daughter came to me once. It was like, you're always working. I'm over you. And I was like, oh no, baby, come back.
She is like your greatest teacher, right? Like, isn't she amazing?
Right? Yeah, she definitely is. At first, when I first saw her, she's like, go, mommy, go. And then she was like, okay, you're making the money now. I don't know why you're still here. But I decided to just block off the end. So the last week of every month is blocked off. And that's a tradition I will continue forever to create more time and space for creativity and all the other things I listed before. Fridays, I work half days. And it's not because I have to, but I want to get some of my stuff. So Mondays are admin days. Fridays are half days, and it's a mandatory movie night or family something night. And then my weekends, I try not to do anything. So like this week, I want to do a webinar, and I was like, ooh, let me try Sunday. I was like, wait, no, hold on. Boundaries. We don't want to do Sundays because that's off limits. And that's when my family, we go to my parents and have dinner, and we just binge watch random things on TV together and talk about family and all this stuff and all this fun stuff. So I just decided that I'm going to block off the time. So one of the best advice that I got from my husband was like, if it's not on your schedule, it's not going to happen. Because I would miss dinner. And I'm like, oh no. And I was like, this is so simple. Why can't I remember to do dinner? And so everything, if you look at my schedule, it's super crazy. It has from the time that I wake up to when I make dinner, workout, shower, all of that, so that I can just stay focused.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We actually haven't really talked about this at all with anybody, like that, the sort of structuring your day and like getting really fierce about your weeks. And I work, my mentor is very much about that third week of each month, like keeping it like no coaching. And she was like, go and block all that off in your diary before 2017 even rolls around. And I was like, oh, yes. It's like, whatever, I guess whatever, but if it's not in there, like stuff just gets booked into it. And so I'm definitely in this habit now of like, I just mark out chunks of time and I'm like, it's not happening. I need to either work in my business or do this or, so I'm very much like, my diary can look a bit overwhelming sometimes, but it's actually, it creates more space, right?
Mm-hmm. And it looks crazy because it's different little colors. My niece was looking at it and she was like, whoa, you're busy. I'm like, no, if you read it, it says, go shower, go work out, eat something, even my snacks, project time. And then on Sunday, what I'll do, because my team, Sundays are Monday, I'll go in and I'll put like what projects I'm going to do throughout the week. But I block off that time and make it unavailable because I know that if it's not, people can book calls. Then I'll be prone to say, sure, let's get on a call and talk about this. And when I'm like, wait, boundaries. So that's definitely important.
I love it. I love it. And I love that it's been a process, right? Because we don't just like start out and be like, boundaries, yay, they're so clear. What's been one of the biggest learnings for you in this, in I guess, creating more flow in your life and in your business?
It doesn't have to be perfect because
love that.
I'm from the school of everything needs to be perfect, especially in corporate America. What I've been chiseled into my brain is that everything has to be perfect, otherwise you'll lose a job. And then I was actually a trainer, and so that was one of the things that I had to let go when I started training other people. But I realized that more in my life and my business, that it doesn't have to be perfect because one, personally, when I told you the story about babies, I know that my rainbow baby's coming next. I know what to do now. I know like how to create the space for myself. Like I started working out and just taking better care of myself and owning up to my mistakes. I'm also diabetic. That happened last year. So I was like, okay, so just owning up to the things where I'm at and just be like, what can I do to change it versus being in a state of let me be sad about it. And in my business, is just being okay with maybe there's going to be a technical difficulty on my webinar and my emails will be sent out with misspelled words. I write an email like at 8 a.m. and it takes me till 8 p.m. to change it or to make changes to it. And I have someone who edits it, but I'm like, wait, it's not perfect. It's not there. It's like, just let it go. People are waiting for it. And just being open to be in a state of flow. Like I'm learning more and more to let go of the attachment to the outcome. It's like, we set goals and that's great. But I remember when I first started, when I was super like, I guess, oblivious to everything. Like I didn't know much in terms of where I wanted to be. I was so unattached that things came so easily. And the more we know, more constricted we become because we're like, oh, we know better. And it's like, we have to be perfect now. Everyone's watching you. And it's like, some people don't care. They're like, girl, get on live stream and let's talk about this. Let's connect. You know what I mean? Let me find out if you're the right person for me versus it being, let me get my hair curled. I got to put on my lipstick. Of course, I will never live stream without lipstick. I just can't. Maybe not a full face, but I have to have life.
I love that you do, because I nearly didn't put lipstick on for this. And then I was like, she's going to definitely show up with her lipstick on, so I'm going to get mine on. Exactly. You raised my standards. You're right. Yeah. I was like, I better go get my lippy out.
Lippy is awesome. But yeah, just relaxing. I feel whether you're new or seasoned, it's just we've become so attached to the outcome and wanting everything to be perfect that sometimes it stops us. Like I've been there when I'm like, even till today, I'm like, wait, this is not perfect. I'm like, why? Just put it out there. Someone's going to benefit.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that. I want to talk even like the perfect thing. I've seen so many clients and they just get stuck in that place, and then they won't take any steps forward but it would never will be perfect. And so I love that you brought this up, because it just turns up in everything. And it instead of getting addicted to the perfect, it's like getting addicted to the progress.
Yes. Amen.
I
love that.
So it's like the progress over perfection. Cause I remember when my weight's went up and down like crazy. And I remember like some people, like they'll get to their goal weight and they're the most miserable they've ever been in their life. Or you get there and you're like, oh, I still have my own body. Oh, how did that happen? I'm like, I didn't turn into a supermodel when I lost 20 pounds. Like, I'm like, what? Like like, right. But I have like, it's the progress, right? Because we've all got to be running our own race, right? I'm not going to suddenly get the best legs in the world, no matter how much I exercise. It's just not going to happen. And I'm slowly getting okay with that. I'm like, I can be okay with this. But I think one of the key things that you just said was about being less attached to the outcome. And if anyone watching, if they watched nothing else in this entire series of interviews and just got this one takeaway, it would be enough. Like, people, I think, get obsessed with what it's going to look like, how we're going to get there, and then the more attached we get to it, the further it runs away from us. Have you seen that? Yeah. Can you talk a bit more about how the heck how do you detach to something when you want it so bad?
It's crazy to say it, but the way you detach is to not care. Like, you care enough to put your heart forward. Like, when I put my heart in it and I'm like, okay, I'm good, with the intention of helping and wanting to solve the world's problems in this case. So whatever I'm launching, for example, I believe in my product, number one. And number two, I know what it's going to do for people. But number three, I'm super confident who's going to be in the program. Like, these are the people that I want to work with. These are the people that are going to make the change, because you can't help everybody where they're at. People are at different stages, and they all are not the perfect clients or the perfect students. And so some of the ways I detach is just being totally clear and confident in what I'm going to put out there. But also, let me be clear, because I'm human. I'll have my moments where I'm like, oh no one's coming. And I'm like, wait. It's like, kind of, excuse my language, bitch slap yourself. Like, get it together, woman.
We're good.
Right. It's like, get it together, woman, and focus on the reason why you started this in the first place. And that usually helps. It's like, why am I doing this? These things, I have sticky notes all over. Like, this is like my best friend in a notebook, but I'll make a note to myself, like, or a quote that I found that I love that resonated with me for the day, or just a thought like, I'm doing this because I want to help 100 women this year impact lives and change the world through their business, and just like putting that in there and changing that. But for me, it's just being clear and just having those checkpoints with yourself. Because even though we're like, go, empowerment, we got this, the truth is you have to check in with yourself and stop yourself from whining, because you're human. You're going to whine. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's not working. Why am I not getting clients? And realizing, okay, it's not about why I'm not getting clients. What can I do right now to change the way that I'm doing things so that I can be seen by the clients that I want to work with?
Such a better question. So much more empowering. And as soon as you focus back on that why, you're taking yourself out of you know, because as soon as we get into that, like, it's not working, it's all about us instead of the bigger mission. So I love that you keep focusing back on that why. It's like just, it's so important. Like, I love hearing about how people deal with this stuff, because I heard somebody say, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Marie Forleo. I think I've referenced her already today. Maybe I must have seen something with her in it. But she was like, if anyone tells you that they don't get scared, they're lying. Or that they don't occasionally have a doubt, or they don't occasionally like question something. But it's just so fascinating to see how you like overcome it on a daily basis. Not on daily, but like if it does crop up. So I love that. What do you say to people when they're first starting? And I had a conversation with somebody earlier. Oh, and they're drilling at my house. That's super convenient.
If it was earlier, they would have been mowing the lawn outside.
Oh, so yeah. I was like, we were talking, there might have been a dog barking, but there's no dog. There's just some drilling. Apologies, everybody. But how, if you're just starting, how can you, because we talked a little bit about building your confidence, but how can you believe in your product if you're just starting out? Is that again just like getting experience? How can you work through that?
It's both experience, but also understanding why you're doing it. I know, like, why sounds so foo-foo, but it's like, it's the truth. Why are you putting this product out there, and who's going to benefit from it? Because, and also, is it going to be in alignment with how you want to teach the world and how people are going to receive it too? Because we might think, I had a client who was a financial coach, and she thought, somebody told her previous coach told her it was like 90-day program. And the reality is her audience benefited from master classes and a membership, because these were corporate women who wanted to be better with their money. So they have the Gucci bags, they have the Mercedes and the big house, but they're terrible with money. And they were, sometimes too willing to spend money on the shiny stuff and other things. So really understanding your audience and really being clear about why you're putting it out there and who's it for. And also, how do you like to teach, or how do you like to share this piece of education? Because we can get trapped in like, everyone has a 90-day program. So-and-so has a mastermind. And actually, my previous coach, she only had one-on-one coaching for like 2 years. She didn't do anything else but one-on-one coaching, and it worked for her. So really recognizing what really works for you, just because you're going to freak out regardless. It doesn't matter. But just figuring out who is it for, why you're doing it, and how you like to teach and how they like to receive it is a great way.
Okay, yeah. I didn't put that one down. How they like to receive. Yeah. I think that's so key. And it's so interesting, because I've seen a few people and it drives me nuts. And they've come to me and they're like, oh, well, I'm not allowed to do a group program because my coach told me I'm not allowed. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you'd be perfect for this stuff, right? Or I can't. Yeah, it's just like we get so conditioned because if somebody else is doing it, but it's got to be what works for you and your lifestyle. And you've got a family, and this other person might not, or they like working on a Saturday. I don't know, but like we've got to keep finding what works for us and not necessarily everybody else. So. Exactly. I love it. I love that. It's so important. So important. Oh my goodness. What else?
I did want to say one thing.
Oh, please.
Before we move to the next thing was, especially when you mentioned, like, when someone says so-and-so said I can't do a group coaching program and only one-on-one. One thing I want to say is just because of the fact that I think most people are afraid of group programs because they feel like, well, if only 4 people sign up and my goal is 25, then I'm a failure. Oftentimes not because someone told them, is because they feel like, okay, well, so-and-so launched and she had 100 people. And it's like, wait, you're just starting out. 4 people is amazing. Trust me. Do what you can to get your goal number. But if you are stuck at halfway point, appreciate that and be happy and do the best that you can. And then what happened was I had my first ever product launch, and I only sold 19 seats and my goal was 40. And I was like, you know what? I'm thankful and grateful for these women for taking a chance on this one group program that I've never ran before. And it was amazing. The testimonials were amazing. The results were amazing too, because I just stayed focused on that. So I just want to mention that too. Oftentimes not what people tell us only, because people tell you anything, but if you believe in it because you're like, ooh, this I might be a failure at 4 people, then you won't move forward.
Oh, I love that. And we've all got to start, you know, I've listened to a lot of people, and they share that their first program that's now had thousands of people go through it, the first one had 4. And,
Right.
you know, I think it's not like we get disillusioned, I think, with what success means and how, and that yeah, exactly. I think 4 people in is incredible, and we've got to celebrate that, and not, instead of focusing on the other 20 odd people that didn't turn up. It's like, these are the perfect 4 people. I love that. I once had, I think I shared with this somebody recently, but not that, it was only in 2016. I hosted a meetup in Sydney. 1 man showed up, 1 man. And I was trying to get women there, right? And I was like, this is the most weird. I mean, it was pretty late notice. Like, I organized it the same week, and it was for a Saturday night. And there's 1 man, and we had this awkward conversation. And I was like, oh God, that's terrible. And many people would be like, well, that's a disaster. Meetups don't work for me, right? For instance. And then I went and I ran another one in Miami, like a couple of weeks later, and it went viral. Like, I actually, there were thousands of people supposed to be coming to this thing. And to the point where the venue couldn't hold us, and we had to go and change the whole thing and find a new venue at the last minute, because the meetup, we ended up having 175 people because I had to ticket it, and we were turning people away on the door. And I was like, what the here? It was like Twilight Zone. It was the Twilight Zone. And
that's amazing.
But can you imagine though, if I'd been like, oh, events don't work for me. And then from there, right. I've gone and had a big 3-day live event, and that was amazing as well. And I feel that, but if it come from that one first experience of this one awkward man and me sitting there on a Saturday night, it was like I'd tried to like set up some cheap date or something through me up. It was just terrible. So bad. But yeah, I love that. But yeah, and you're, you know, the past doesn't mean the future, right? So I thought that was kind of a funny story, but but yeah, I think we get, and there's that, we get caught up in that, you know, this person made, you know, 6 figures in the first 3 months of their business, or the first year, or the first 5 minutes. And then when it's not happening, I think we become more and more disillusioned as well. Obviously, we both had pretty quick, relatively success. Like, it took me 6 months longer than you, I think, though. But how do you sort of tackle that with your clients when they're like, is it expectation management?
Yes. So one of the things they do before you start working with me is they fill out a questionnaire, and then I have them do an assignment that's really asking them, what does success mean to them? Like, strip all the things you've seen on social media, and what would you do? And these are questions I ask on my discovery calls too. It's like, what would make you happy? What are the goals that you want to reach? And what does that mean to you? Because oftentimes stuck on, like, for example, and we've all done it, like, you're a traveler. This is like your life. I would want people to work with you because you're amazing, not just because you travel. You know what I mean? You actually impact their lives, and you make changes. Like, just being in the room with you at the time, I was like, my life is changing right now. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And so they get, you know, people usually easily get caught up in like, oh, people are traveling, or they're married and they have a husband. It's like, focus on what does success mean to you. And one of my students, and she got to accomplish it, was her success was taking her kid to Disneyland without having to worry about how she's going to pay for everything, and without having to worry about her business, and to have her bills paid up and be able to go to Disney and have money for Disney. And that was the question I asked her, and she was able to accomplish it after joining one of my programs. But that was because the exercise, whether you work with me through group coaching or private coaching, is what does success really mean for you, and not what everyone else is defining it for you, because we can get caught up in that so easily.
Yeah, my definition of success was messed up. And it wasn't, I was like, I'll only be successful when I'm making X amount of my business. And yeah, it was so messed up. And I actually said to my coach this year, I said, if I meet this big goal that we've set for me and I gain another 20 pounds, that's not a success. So I was like, don't high five me and give me a big hug if I meet this goal and I'm bursting out of my dress at the time, because that's not a success, right, for me anymore, because I was like, that's not cool. Right, so I'm like, I've got to get my balance and my values right, like,
right.
And
that's the beauty of us doing our own thing, is like we get to be able to control that. Versus if you're successful sometimes in your career at a 9 to 5, you may not necessarily have the time to work out, although we should make time. But that's why I love that you said that. That's one of the things that I'm doing too. Is like, if I'm like falling apart and burnt out and I'm making money, I'm not happy. So it's not going to be, I don't count that as success either.
And it's not sustainable, right? Like I could probably do it this year, but then I'd probably need 6 months off next year to recover. And that's not cool either, right?
Then you have to get back into the hustle mode.
And then I'm like, oh God, I have to hustle again. Yeah, right. Like, it's not cool. It's not cool. Oh my goodness. I love all of this. I'm just conscious of time, and I could just sit and talk to you all afternoon about this stuff. Like, it's so good. And I love that, you know, you do teach the structure and the systems and, you know, the marketing side of things, but there's such an underlying focus on, if you don't get all of this other stuff right, it's probably not going to work. So
right.
It's just so fundamental, and I'm so glad that you shared all of that. I really, really appreciate it. What is the best place for people to find you online? How can they follow you? We'll have your links hooked up below this interview, but what's the best place for people to find you?
My digital home, FabiolaGiordani.com. That's the best place to find me.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Go and have a nosy at her.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And do you have a free gift you're offering? What's the...
Having this conversation with you, I would say go to FabiolaVIPlist.com. It'll be a surprise. Just because one of the things from my hustle days is I created so many things. So I'm going to put something very juicy for those watching.
I love it.
To help.
Cool. Can you just FabiolaVIPlist.com?
.com, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Ooh, it's going to be juicy. I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you again so much for your time. Go and follow this lady. She's amazing. Her visuals are stunning. And you just need to be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.